Good evening. We'll bring the February 18th Board of Selectmen's meeting to order and start with pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Adjustments to the agenda. I'm going to bring number 9, citizens petition, right up to the top. Mr. Farmer, right there. Joe, I'm going to throw that to you to give us a synopsis of what we got there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So last week, at the office, we received the petition. It's in your packets. It's been certified. It's got all the signatures on it. It has questions about reverting back to open town meeting essentially. So I reached out for legal opinion. And I'll read parts of that to you now. Essentially, B20, which is the recurring warrant article on the warrant, has been on there since 2016 or 17, is really an advisory question. The decision to make town meeting an open town meeting or secret ballot in this room lies exclusively with the Board of Selectmen. So it is within the discretion of the select board each year to determine whether to hold an open meeting or have a secret ballot. It's not a proper item at town meeting to vote that all warrant articles must be enacted by secret ballot. Accordingly, the petition should be rejected because it is not a proper item for town meeting. The petitioners have the opportunity to try to convince the board to handle these questions in a public meeting every year. So the petition, it's not a proper question. It's town meeting can't decide whether it's going to be open or referendum. It's the board that makes that decision.
All right, Mr. Farmer,
Thank you, Mr. Janowski. We're looking at standards.
you can do whatever you'd like.
Okay. So, I appreciate the opinion of the other council on that there. However, our petition was presented to bring up an issue that has been long talked about since it's been switched to that of involving, we think from a parliamentary process. By doing this with secret ballot, it's binary, meaning, yes, you approve the article, no, you don't approve it. By having it in open town format, that allows you to discuss. It allows you to look at what's been recommended by the board, allows you to look at what's been recommended by the budget committee if it differs. And then have a discussion. It allows questions to be asked and then a vote determined at that meeting. In the past, small things have been done, such for instance, there was this warrant outline that said we wanted to spend $160,000 to buy a brand new bucket loader. And then we were gonna pay 7% interest on that there. A couple of us stood up at the meeting and said, we have quite a bit in undesignated funds in our fund reserve. Why don't we set it up a 5% loan back as we would the payments to the department and give a return of investment to the fund part back into the town treasury rather than going to a bank and spending 7%. This is long before my banking year, but but anyways, but the point is that never could happen in our current form that we've been operating under 8 years. I understand the point of it. The town of Jay did it. We had a clerk come in that did suggest that. The town got behind it, went ahead and voted on it and did it. The B20 article, as you go back through and you look at the history, I think last year it got up to, it was 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 in favor of doing it that way. But I'll argue that when you're going down through those business articles, they're all pretty standard and every answer is yes. Yes, we want the interest rate. Yes, we want this. Yes, we want that. If you really wanted to test that and see if people are just filling ovals, then I would suggest this year you put it in as B10 or B11, but write it that, yes, I want town meeting to be held in open format and know that it was closed, so that way I would think you would then find out that the similar thing would happen, but it would pass with that 2 or 3-to-1 vote. We feel from a democracy standpoint, this puts the power back into the hands of the people to have discussions on, to be able to go through that. I know the argument has said, well, 400 people vote with it on there, only 70 or 80 show up to town meeting. I was talking with Paul Mills this afternoon, actually. He moderates the town of Farmington's meeting. They have a much bigger budget than us and a much bigger population than us, and they still hold their town meeting at the community center, and people come and discuss and go through things. And it's to me, it's the purest form of natural government that I think we're denying ourselves the ability of that by just going in and voting. And it doesn't allow, I would think you'd get more engagement from your budget committee and all of that. One of the reasons I don't do budget committee, and I've been asked in the past to do it, is because once budget committee's done and the select board's assigned the budget, a warrant is either approve this amount or not. There's no, there's not a lot of work that's given to the budget committee in that process from there, outside of once you have nailed down the budget. So I would ask you that you allow that to go forward, that part. If you think part of it is not technically correct, then redact it. But the premise of the question was, do you want town meeting in person? We got 90 signatures in 36 hours without even trying. And so I ask you to consider that. And I understand the 60-day timeline for the April 8th meeting. We missed that by a few days. I wasn't aware that that was happening. Otherwise, I would have acted quicker. I apologize. But my understanding is the 8th was a date picked because of concerns of where you're going to be budget-wise for the police department. I would suggest you move the meeting to the 15th, allow this article to be added to the special town meeting rather than 2 special town meetings, and allow it to go forward.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any input? No.
Just really quick, Mr. Chairman, get clarification from Joe. So what did you say the legal opinion was on Article B20?
That is Mr. Chair, that's an advisory question that's been placed on the warrant. The authority to call a town meeting and to determine which format it's in is up to the discretion of the board.
And that's under which statute?
I don't have the citation with me. I have an email from the attorney.
Anybody else? Cindy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think also, the opportunity, within an open town meeting is to have secret ballot as well. A motion can be made from the floor, seconded. If the majority votes, then the subject being voted on can be done by secret ballot. There really is a way to have, the best of both worlds, because I think in the past that was an issue with the hand raising, the repercussions, business people concerned, about backlash, et cetera. And Chris was right. I mean, the response I got from circulating the petition was extremely positive. And like Chris said, it was just a matter of hours, because you had just set the date for the town meeting the week before, for the special town meeting the week before. It wasn't our intent to miss a deadline, to cause, issues with this. We had a very limited time within which to operate. And, I certainly would echo the sentiment of, just having, the budget committee's hard work recognized. I was on the budget committee before I was on the board of selectmen. I'm on the budget committee again. And, with Jim again for, the second year in a row, and it's a lot of work, a lot of time. It'd be great to have it discussed openly, so folks can make an educated decision. So it's, I think it's worth bringing back. It just states it's for this town meeting. And, we hope you take this seriously.
Well, Chris made a couple of points that I was gonna make, but I'll re-hit on him. You're right, by doing the secret ballot, we average about 318 voters versus 79 to an open format. And since we have had that on the ballot since 2017, it's been 252 to 91 in 17, 245 to 102, 206 to 83, 262 to 80, 173 to 36, 250 to 98, 300 to 100, and 181 to 84. So I got to take some of that into consideration as well. The item was on last year's warrant anyhow, and it was voted on to keep it to a secret ballot. So that's my feeling. Cindy?
I would just like to point out something historically that, the Board of Selectmen and I was on with Ethan at that time, that the marijuana ordinance was brought forth to the voters and, rejected, I mean, by more of a margin than that. And a citizen's petition was brought forth to the Board of Selectmen 3 months later to vote on the marijuana ordinance again with only some slight tweaks. And the Board of Selectmen didn't feel they had a choice but to move forward. I mean, I voted against it, but Ethan, I don't know if you remember that, but it was your first year. And
I remember when it happened. I don't remember the order of events or how
yeah,
that
it
transpired.
had been,
the memo we got from Freddie Flaherty that we got today, that's what I was going by. I was a little confused by it. I kind of wanted to catch up with you guys, but snow removal made that impossible. But yes, no, I do remember that. But I'm not going to comment on Langsdorf's thing until I know a little bit more about it.
so that was my point, Mr. Chairman, was just saying that, yes, I, understand your, the numbers as you present them. The Board of Selectmen has been faced with this exact same scenario, and voted to move the citizens petition forward because it was a valid petition.
True, but according to legal, this petition itself for changing the town meeting format is a non-actionable petition versus what you were referencing.
I appreciate you saying that. According to legal, we just got generalities, nothing registered at 30 AM RSA, which does say the town may choose to do that, whether that power is with you or not. But you've got 90 voices saying, hey, we'd like to revisit this here, at least put it on a ballot as a separate, clear issue, rather than, and it has a format outlined in it in that which says the secret ballot issue, because that was obviously, I fought against going to this 9 years ago. I fought it pretty hard. Steve Philbrick with me and a couple others. And it went forward, but the whole biggest pushback is people felt uncomfortable in the town meeting. So that's why I wrote this petition with the secret ballot piece. It's materially different than just your B20 discretionary question. It's a key issue on how we choose to run the government. And I think it should get its voice to the citizenry.
Well, also the form of government that we have, when we go through the budgets process, we have public hearings where people can come and voice their concern. And in talking about the loader that you were, people could have come to a public hearing and given that information and changed people's minds before that vote was taken as well. We have at least 2 public hearings where people come in and can voice their concerns. That's how that is meant to be. It's not meant to go to a town meeting where it lasts 4 hours long. You're supposed to get all that conversation done in your public hearings and then go to the town meeting.
Is that the concern, Mr. Chairman, is the amount of time it'll take up of your folks?
No, just a fact.
Well, town meeting takes 6 or 8 hours in smaller towns.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just throwing something out here. I mean, I understand, I guess, from listening to the conversation that's here. First of all, when I voted on that article, I had no understanding that you guys made the decision. I understood that however that was voted, it had to be. That's a much different process than what you're telling us now. Plus the fact that in all due respect, everyone's busy. And in all due respect, there is much less people at the town public forums, the budget hearings, all of those other pieces than there are at town meeting. So my understanding would be that you want more people to be informed, and give them the chance to listen and hear. and ask the questions. And they're gonna do that in a town meeting format, not necessarily at a budget hearing. And I think that's too bad, and I completely understand, but I do think it's unfair that you're not allowing those people to take that choice and have that choice. And I agree, secret ballot's important. I'm the first person, if it takes 8 hours to do a town meeting, so be it. Have it that way, but allow people the opportunity to ask Jim, why did the budget committee ask that? Jimmy, why did the selectmen do that? You're gonna have more people at that meeting than you are at your public hearings. And I think that's an important piece.
Cynthia?
So, just a clarifying question, because, yeah, this is the first time that I've heard that definition or that mentioned, that B20 is, I guess, a recommendation, is how I interpret it, that it lies with the Board of Selectmen to decide whether it is secret ballot or open. So therefore, could the selectmen choose the business articles? Let's cut down on the time. So the business articles where the interest rate is set by the state. We set the 2 payments periods or the payment due dates for taxes. Those types of articles which, don't really offer debate. The donation petitions, another matter that we cannot change, the board can't change. That could also, stay as a standard secret ballot that shows up on the warrant, and leave the money questions for open town meeting. I'm wondering if it's possible. I mean, does the Board of Selectmen have that ability? Because I'm hearing some new news, I always thought it was, all or nothing. So we may have the best of both worlds, is I guess what I'm wondering. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
My experience with that, Mr. Chair, is in bifurcated town meetings, what I've seen is the town will vote for their municipal officers and other elected folks, say on a Thursday, and then they'll come together on a Saturday and have the open floor portion where they vote on everything else. I'm not saying that couldn't happen, that you would split your business articles. I haven't seen it.
Well, it would be, the business articles are the B articles. The EX articles are what the budget committee and the Board of Selectmen work on, and the D articles are the donations. So, they're already categorized. That's my point. Thank you.
Really quick, Mr. Chairman, so sorry. So I heard the words non-actionable being mentioned, but I didn't see that in state law. I saw that, denial to move a petition forward could happen on the grounds of it violates state law, it's improperly worded, or it conflicts with other local regulations. And that wasn't even grounds to deny moving a valid petition forward. It was just, it seemed like, the board could work with legal counsel to make sure it presented appropriately. Am I hearing that the intent is not to move the valid petition forward based on it being a non-actionable item, but not in violation of state law, not improperly worded, and it doesn't conflict with other regulations, local regulations?
You got that right there.
Mr. Chair, the language is not a proper item for town meeting.
And one other question, so sorry, do we have any other articles that are advisory questions only on our town meeting warrant?
Not to my knowledge.
And who wrote that legal opinion?
Steve Langsdorff?
Oh, okay. And he didn't cite one MRSA with it? He didn't cite any statute with his opinion? So it's just his opinion.
What's the opinion of Freddie Flaherty?
It's opinion of Steve Langsdorff by attorney at play. Yeah. But he didn't cite any statute to back it up or anything along this.
Not in this email, Mr. Chair, no.
You have your hand up again, Cindy? Oh, I thought you did a minute ago. All right. Any other input? Going ahead.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So in regards to the way the question is asked on the ballot. I've had several conversations with Chris, Dave McMillan, a few other people over the years. And to me, we never seem to get the question exactly right. I think it can be more cut and dry as to, like a lot of the questions that we read on ballots or whatever, a lot of people don't understand them, but it should be plain and simple. Do you want to, something like this, do you want to go back to the original town meeting format and put that on the ballot? I would be okay with that. As far as my opinion, I think secret ballot's better. That's just my opinion. And I was for, when I was a citizen before, I mean, as a regular citizen, not behind the table here. I think more votes is great. I think that open forum gives a chance for the loudest people to be heard because they're the ones that will speak and do speak, and good for them. And it's mostly intelligent conversation. But the folks that will never speak will still not speak. And this gives, the way it is now, in my opinion, gives a chance for the folks that aren't so brazen or good at public speaking or afraid of what their neighbor's gonna look at. I had heard so many people, and I realize you did say we could do secret ballot in a meeting, and I've done it. But just getting people to go to that meeting, I mean, the numbers Jimmy was given, what did you say, 80 people?
Roughly,
Yeah, 80, 100 people. This is more folks in a meeting than we have in a regular meeting than we have like 90% of the time. Don't quote me, that's just the way I see it. So, I mean, it would be nice if the citizens would come up like Ethna does, like Cindy does, like Chris does, like John does, to come up at least every once in a while to see what's going on here and not just hear about it in the coffee shop, read it in whatever someone puts in a newspaper. And that was the intent with those hearings. And I know, Leanna, you said you probably get more people, but no, I think percentage wise, you're gonna get about the same because this percentage is about the same as the 80% we get at the school, because a lot of people aren't gonna sit there for 4 hours. They don't want to upset their neighbors. I know business owners that are like, I will never go to that meeting because I don't even want somebody to see the bad look on my face because then they'll know how I voted. I think this was a good thing when it happened. Doesn't mean it's right because there's no right. There's just what you think and what I think. So I think people should get a chance to vote on whether it becomes the forum that we used to use. But I'm not going to decide to go back on the forum. I'm not going to sit here and be like, okay, let's go back to the other thing because 90 people wrote on that. Because if you brought it to me and I don't want to do it, I just sign your petition because I sign any petition someone puts in front of me. So the 90 signatures isn't going to say, hey, if we had 90 people who want to change this, I know people on that ballot don't want to change it, but they also sign petitions like I do.
Dick?
The only thing I can say is that after sitting in, first of all, thank you guys for being very well educated. Just from my perspective, sitting in on those town meetings at the school hall. And take aside the fact that they get long and drawn out or whatever, everybody gets a chance to speak or say whatever. But when the voting aspect of it came down, you could watch people around the room wait for certain people to raise their card. Or you could watch certain people have their opposition card up and then see that this person has their card up and swap them real quick. That's my only concern with it, is that it's not, everybody in this small community is worried about what you think or what you think of the decisions that are made. And I just hate to see that happen again, which it does happen. And we know it happens just because it's
100%.
the look around the room, see what he's doing, what has she decided? I don't want Ethna mad at me. It's like this thing, you know, that I just think that's where the secret ballot of it comes into play and is much more productive, but.
Chris?
Thank you, gentlemen, for your opinions back on that. I don't disagree with anything about the concern for that. That's why I specifically wrote in there that each article can be voted on by secret ballot at that meeting.
I'm sorry, by written ballot, I'm gonna correct it.
Yeah, written ballot, thank
Everybody
you.
says secret,
By written,
secret's what we currently do, written is what we would do it on.
yeah, written ballot, thank you. that's fine. I'm glad she keeps me on track. So the point that I'm gonna make is that what I heard here is actually good news. It all sits in your hands according to your legal counsel. So listen to what we brought here. You want me to go out and get 300 signatures? You want me to go out and get 500 signatures? You want me to go out and get 800 signatures?
I'd rather see 300 people vote to put it back in circulation, which hasn't happened since it was incepted.
Well, then fine, then quit burying it in the 20th business article where everything is yes on, and change it so it says, yes means you want it, and put it in the middle of the articles. See what happens then?
I'd be completely in favor of that.
But the other thing that I wanna say is that this is 100% discretionary, which is all news to us.
Yeah.
Then why don't you take a pause and say, is it gonna kill you to do a bifurcated town meeting this year? Do the elected officials, all of that, do the donation articles, all by secret ballot, and do the 10 or 12 articles that deal with the actual meat and potatoes of the budget? Do those in person with written ballot at that meeting. You could do that meeting in an hour and 45 minutes. I'll even save you the moderator fee. I'll do it for free. Because I would like to see it be in a place where we can have open discussion and debate. People don't show up to the public hearing. You think it's intimidating to show up at a public hearing when there's 80 of your neighbors there? Here, you're on TV and you're getting recorded.
You'll be on TV there too.
Not getting recorded.
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Town meeting, yeah.
They never used to.
Yep. Well, we didn't have all this stuff back then.
You could drag all your recording equipment down there. Well, maybe that's part of the issue.
Richie Brown used to record him, sorry, he had a
Yep.
video camera.
Yes, he did.
That's right, you're right, yeah.
But to me, I think you should give it a shot. And you've got the discretion to do it without having to go out to vote. I prefer that we put it out to vote, a real vote. You stick it, you move your hearing from the 8th to the 15th. You've got the discretionary, you know the general theme of what we presented. Write your own article that covers that and let people vote at this and see if it's a true vote, if it's not buried with 160 other different things that they're voting on. And let them vote at this meeting. If you really want to get the field, like you said, then do that. Add it to an article, move the meeting to the 15th. That gives you 62 days from when we submitted the permit, petition, the citizens initiative. And you've got the flexibility to tweak it how you want. Your flexibility, what articles go on there or not. You say it's discretionary, write it up, put it on there and let people vote. It's not gonna hurt. You'll then have a read.
Well, what the hell was I gonna say, Jim?
Well, I saw your hand.
That's all I can tell you. Yeah, we are gonna take a pause, I would assume, Mr. Chair, and in good old Steve Philbrick fashion, to discuss something of this nature, we need a full board, which we don't have tonight. I'd like to hear what the other two have to say, and I'd like to think about this, and I'd also like clarification from Mr. Langsdorf, since there's another attorney in the room that's asking questions about statutes and such.
I'm not the only one asking.
I was giving you a little kudos, but whatever. Everyone asking.
Sorry.
The paralegal studies in the room.
Leanna?
Well, I'm going back to that, I mean, I'm kind of blown away a bit, to be honest, that you guys have the authority and yet you put it on the ballot. I think it's very important that people understand when something's voted on, what they're voting on. Because if I had voted one way and then you guys changed your mind, I would be going, what? How come? What's happening? No one said that's a recommendation. And I think that's a real important thing. To my knowledge, anything that's on that warrant is God.
And I think that's a question for legal, because they look at our warrant every year, and if it didn't need to be on there, then why weren't we
Right,
told?
well, I'm
And I-
looking forward to going forward on this. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of
It's
blown
brought up
away
a
a
good
little
issue.
bit from this conversation tonight, because that's like, wow.
Well, I agree with that too, and that's why I want Joe to ask.
It shouldn't even be on,
34.
I'll be honest, it
Well,
shouldn't even
because
be
we-
on if it's a recommendation.
When we voted on it prior to my tenure here, that that was how it was explained to us. We voted to get it in. The only way we can get it out is to vote it out. The fact that it's our discretion, that's what I want clarification on, because Steve was around for all that, because that's when he stopped being moderator, because that's when we stopped having town meetings. So he would have known about it.
I mean, that's just looking back at that from an outside looking in, I think that's a real important piece of everything that's happened tonight, is that discussion.
Truth be told,
Because there
don't
shouldn't
want
be
it.
anything on the warrant, there's just a recommendation.
If it was voted in 2016 or whenever it was, then exactly why was it showing up on the warrant?
Sure.
If it was changed and that was the fact, then it
Because
shouldn't have been on the
if that's
warrant.
the case, then a citizen's recommendation or request to put on a warrant should be honored, it should be on, and it should be taken care of the same way. Because if it's on there and that's the reason, if you guys have the final choice, then it is up to the community to say that's the way it is, but I'm kind of blown away.
Why doesn't Joe reach out to our attorneys at MMA separately and ask them as well?
Because I remember, if I could mention,
Yeah.
I remember when we did this, because I fought it tooth and nail. I remember, they said, well, don't worry, every year we put it as a question on the ballot, and if it gets overturned, then go back.
That's right.
Because if you don't remember, we were opposites on this a while ago, and Cindy did remind me, said, it will be on there, I promise you, it'll be on there as an opportunity to get it
Right.
back.
Yeah.
And, and I fought for that way online and those things for that, but. So if it's truly discretionary, then I would really ask, then maybe you add an article that you can pull for it, so then it gives you an idea of discretionary and how you feel. If you're gonna make the decision, I would think you'd wanna get a clear read. I don't think you are with B20, it's totally different.
No, I agree. Put it on at a different location and word it differently or something, but Cindy?
Yeah, I guess I would just want to echo what Leanna said, is that the reason for the citizens petition was because of Article B20 and the fact that many folks don't realize the ability. I agree with all the points you made years ago, being an open town meeting, just like you said, Jake, but folks don't realize the ability of having secret ballot written ballot at open town meeting. And, to give people the opportunity to experience that, is something this town hasn't seen before, not at the level we're talking about. And, I don't disagree, with any of your points, but I just feel that, for Attorney Langsdorff to come forth with an opinion such as that, I'm just appalled.
Why you appalled?
I'm appalled because we've had this Article B20 on the warrant for no reason whatsoever. I'm shocked. There has never been, that observation, legal opinion has never been voiced publicly, shared publicly. I'm blown away. And it's a valid citizens petition based on past practice, based on the results of town meeting and the fact that we now have, or we would like to try the option of written ballot at open town meeting and reserve those articles that don't have any leeway to secret ballot.
Got all those notes, Joe?
I do have those.
Or you can play it back on the video.
All right, anybody else have anything you want to add?
Question.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, folks. So if Joe finds out that that's a legal petition, will you folks call a special selectmen's meeting to, it could be put on the special town meeting warrant for the 15th?
We find out, we'll act on it accordingly. How's that?
Just curious. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Anything else?
Thanks for your time.
Thank you guys for all your input.
Kyle, do you have anything? Ain't seen you in a while.
I know, geez.
Mr. Chair, are you gonna take this back up on number 9, or are you gonna move on with this?
We'll move on from this, yeah.
Okay, are there other things that the board would like to direct me to do, just so I'm clear on what that is? I heard mention of getting a second opinion, citing statutes.
Oops, Jim,
No, I was gonna say, just read back what you, those are 2 things that you've written down. You're gonna reach out to MMA for their legal input and then ask Steve for clarification.
I would recommend acknowledging that you've received this petition. It has, certified signatures on it. Based on this, I would have advised you to reject it, but it doesn't sound like you're at that point. But I would advise you to vote to receive it and acknowledge it. Don't accept it or reject it, just receive it and acknowledge it for the record.
I motion the citizens petition has been received and we acknowledge that.
Second.
Motion by Ethan, second by Jake. All in favor? I don't think Keith's with us tonight, is he?
I didn't see him.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
Joe, since we did this within the last decade, we should have a record of how this went down, correct? In this building,
We can look back at that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then I don't think Tim's left the country, so we could possibly pick his brain too.
Beast.
All right, let's jump down to number 4, public to speak on a non-agenda item. Leanna.
So I'm not sure if this is the right format or not, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. Over the course of the last 10 days, I've had conversations with 5 people that have been extremely upset with the town of Rangeley. These are people that are taxpayers, partially seasonal, partially regular, about the fact that we're closed on Friday. And I guess I felt it was important to at least bring those conversations to you. I'm sure you've probably seen stuff in format that's written. I've told these people, write something to the town, explain that. The comments that have been made to me made a lot of sense. We're a big enough town that we can afford to have full-time fire department, full-time police department, full-time everything, but we can't have a full-time staff at the town office. Something doesn't look quite right relative to that. I come from a management perspective where it's important to keep your employees, and having a 4-day work week is wonderful for your employees. I think that's absolutely necessary to keep your employees' status. But I also know when you have 4 people in the office, you could stagger those so that you actually are open 5 days a week. And those people have maybe a Tuesday off, somebody has a Wednesday off, somebody has a Thursday off, maybe they have Friday off every other week, whatever. I think it's important to realize that there is an undercurrent out there relative to the fact of being closed on Friday. Friday is the only day that many of our seasonal residents come to the town of Rangeley and do their work. And to be closed, and whether it's because they didn't pay attention, I'll be honest, I've done that twice in the last 3 weeks. Had an illegal dog, I get that. But I think we have to look at the scenario that these people pay taxes here. And if we can afford all the amenities that we approve at town meeting, and we have a full-time town office, we need to be open full-time. We're not Lincoln, we're not the Galloway, we're not Dallas, and we need to be able to accommodate those people. And I think it's important that that come forward to you. So that was definitely a big topic in the last 2 weeks.
Answer your question, that's the right place to talk about.
Thank you.
That's not.
I'm only gonna offer feedback as somebody who's in the position where we get a lot of fallout and we have to turn them down. Because we don't carry the inventory to take care of Rangeley residents when we close. I'm just gonna mention that. So of course, we get the double edge because we have people come all the way down to us, and then we have to look them in the face and say, sorry, we can't do anything. So on occasion, that's led to myself and at least one other clerk that I know of being yelled at by the individual who's coming to the office and we can't. So it's kind of having a ripple effect on your surrounding thing.
Good to know. Thank you. Cindy.
Just a follow-up comment, that the town of Greenville, who is similar to, has a lot of similarities to the town of Rangeley, They've gone to a 4-day work week, but they're open Tuesday to Friday. From what I understand, it's to accommodate the seasonal or the second.
Makes sense. Anybody else? You have something you want to bring up, Jim?
Oh, I did.
Yep, okay. Trying to help you out.
Well, just wanted to share an idea. We've had discussions off and on in the budget committee the last 2 years on how we fund the fire department budget and then you're reimbursed in arrears a year later from the surrounding townships and such. And I'm just going to use some rough math. I think we pay like 41% of the fire budget, but I'm maybe 50% because I like simple numbers in my head. So we're carrying then 50% of this for a year. People suggested charging interest on it. That usually creates red flags, where my suggestion would be adjust your formula. So if we see the value of money at 4%, and I'm not a banker, don't want to be one, then 50% times 4% is 2%. That's what, overall what we're losing of that budget. Take our formula, take our 48% and be transparent about it. We want to tell everybody we're doing this. Make it 46%. Take that 2% and spread it around to the other towns. We then cover our carrying costs on the cash flow loss. So it's just a thought.
Well, that makes sense. We're gonna be, I think I discussed that with you. We're gonna be having some meetings about the formula and whatnot. We'll definitely bring that up.
It would make sure that whole issue go away. And it's very fair to have that, I think, reasonable.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Thank you.
Banking comments?
I was just gonna say, I understand where Jim's coming from on that. I think if you gave the plantations a well enough heads up, or said, look, it's this amount, but if you pay it contemporaneously, it's this amount. I think that gives a positive spin on it. In the sense to say, okay, it's costing us 2% a year. If you wait to the end of the year, it's gonna be an extra 2%, but if you pay us monthly or quarterly over there, it can work. I mean, you're talking your plantations there, you're talking their budget, $500,000, $1 million, and they're not multi-million-dollar piece of that. So, and they don't keep monster reserves. So I just think to be proactive on that. And, and it depends on, the value. I think the fire is an easier one that people understand that. They understand that part. I mean, there's different things that get done, with the park and the fireworks and those pieces, which those aren't done by formula. Those are much different adjustments. So, as you know, we've been talking with the comp plan about part of the thing is the regionalization and trying to work on that there. I just think if you worked it a little bit different and said, this is what it is, but if you pay it early, this, and then set that amount as your true cost, and then set your bigger amount as what it is with your cost of your money. So.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. To make that work though, they're gonna try and catch up. You're gonna have to double pay for you. If they're a year behind. Put it in a tough spot. Just a thought. That's why I was trying to come up with something which would be simple. But we could be reimbursed for the value of money to us that we used.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Some board committee minutes from the ordinance committee. We've got some regular minutes from our February 3rd. Excuse me, on our February 11th budget selectmen's meeting.
I make a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes from February 3rd, 2025.
Second. Motion by Ethan, second by Jake, all in favor? No moved.
Also make a motion to approve the minutes for the Budget Committee joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen on February 11th, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Ethan, second by Jake, all in favor? So moved. All right. Set items. Well, that draft warrant, are we?
I would, Mr. Chair, I would recommend approving it. We just won't post it
All right,
until we have some more clarity on where you're headed. But, I wouldn't want to miss any deadlines. So if you approve it, I would recommend approving it. And I'll have a note on that, when it's finalized and put together for, public hearing, and prior to that, there'll be a summary sheet that explains projected overage, the fund amount, those things the board will make a decision.
make a motion, yeah, go for it.
Make a motion to approve the Town of Rangeley Selectmen Special Town Meeting warrant for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, 8 AM to 8 PM.
Motion by Ethan, second by Jake, all in favor? So moved. All right. Community Development Block Grant Program. Hit us up on that, Joe?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. What you have in your packets is a draft letter of intent to apply for a state of Maine Community Development Block Grant Program. This is for the 2025 cycle. It's related to the project up on Moon Lake Road, the child care project. They're asking for $50,000 that would be used to help folks with the service. You know, the people that would use the service would be able to draw this $50,000. The letter of intent is kind of a pre-application. This would be sent into the state ahead of a full application. So you send this in, and then they would tell us if we could apply for the grant. It should be administered, even though it's the Beth Brunswick Foundation that's essentially applying. We would be the folks handling the application on their behalf, and then dispersing the funds. Ellen has said that they will do, she did this for us, and she would do most of the legwork. I do recommend authorizing me to sign again. So it's an intent to apply. It's not the actual application. When we get to that point, I'll give you the internal grant sheet that I'm applying to supply to you, even though it's on the apple.
All right. Motion on that.
I motion to authorize the town manager to sign this letter of intent to apply for the grant.
Second.
Motion by Ethan, a second by Jake, all in favor? So moved. Lana, while we got you, want to give us a quick update on how things are going up there?
Yeah, they're going slowly. If Mother Nature would be helpful, that would be nice, but it is winter. The crew's doing an amazing job. They poured frost walls last Friday. Today, believe it or not, in 30 below zero weather, they were stripping forms. M&H has got the snow pulled back. Thank you, Kyle. Actually, your dad, today, and they will be backfilling next week. Setting up the pad, getting that ready. The plumbers and electricians will be in to put that in. We have our walls coming on the first week in March, and our trusses will be here on the 17th of March.
Wow.
So hopefully by the end of the next month, you'll actually see a nice framed up building started, so. But it's been a long process, and the contractors have been amazing.
Good, excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much for agreeing to sign the letter of intent. This will be a great help to the community if we can get it through. So.
Good, excellent, thank you. Consent to occupancy, we got a transfer of a key hanger at the airport, Joe?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. There's a kind of a form letter there provided for you that explains the transfer. It's going from Bill Kloss, who is responsible for hangar number 7. The new leasee will be Steve Walters. It's pretty standard form. This helps us keep track of who's responsible for the hangar and the payment of the hangar lease. I recommend approval.
Yeah, what do you need for words for something like this, Joe? What's,
Just, I would suggest recommending, accepting the consent to occupancy on the lease, for Steve Walters for hangar number 7.
so move. You saw how that works.
I
right?
saw that coming. Yeah.
Second.
I saw you coming, second by Jake. All in favor? All right, so, we have an appointment to the comprehensive plan, Mr. Farmer. Back up. You guys are chugging along, huh? That's good.
You can see detailed application.
I saw that, yes.
It's wrong.
If you'd like. I think you know my background and development background. Prior work on comprehensive.
Yes.
I don't think he's ever in the background.
Sorry.
Fair. Go Eagles.
Motion to approve Christopher Farmer Esquire's appointment for your term for the CRC.
Second. Motion by Ethan and a second by Jake.
Mr. Chairman, one update, it looks like this would expire in 2027.
Oh, yes,
It's written on the top right there.
So amended.
All right, all in favor?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time for that. You guys are on the home stretch, huh?
We'll speak about that soon. I have a
Uh,
meeting at 7, but hopefully we'll get to
town meeting for that special, public hearing, sorry, for that special town meeting, Joe. We want to keep that on the 17th?
I would recommend calling that. Again, if there's a need to postpone that for some reason, you can do that.
Okay. Entertain a motion for setting that public hearing
Oh.
on 17th.
Make a motion to schedule a special town meeting public hearing for March 17th, 2025.
Second. Motion by Ethan, a second by Jake.
Yeah, would 5 o'clock work for you? Or would you like
I was
to do-
gonna ask that after I, yeah.
I work for you guys.
What is it? What is it, Tuesday? Wednesday?
I don't
St.
know.
Patrick's Day, yeah, Tuesday the 17th, Monday the 17th.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. All right. All in favor? So moved. Yeah. We got a warrant public input, public hearing as well.
This is for the annual town meeting, Mr. Chair. So,
Right.
as you recall, you have the initial public hearing where folks can give you feedback and you have the opportunity to change your minds about what's on the warrant. And there's the statutory public hearing, which is much closer to the date folks. So you could call these and then change them if you wanted to, or you could probably postpone this. I think you have enough time. You don't before March 3rd, actually.
I just assume, set one for March 3rd, I guess.
Okay.
Go ahead, we're at 5 PM. I can do that. March 3rd is. Yeah, that's gonna be regular, so we'll do, yeah, like, 5 PM on the March 3rd.
I think that's too soon, actually. I think this, you should do the 17th.
Want to do the
Sorry,
17th? All right.
March 3rd. is tight.
All right,
That'll follow.
so that'll follow the, other public hearings. All right, so we'll say 5:30. All right, and then, comp plan public hearing. That April 2nd, gonna work on that?
So, I've spoken with the chair of the committee today and also our consultant, Mr. Chair. I don't believe, that we're gonna make that deadline. Everybody's working very hard. There's so much to review that I think.
I can speak to that. We're making good progress, folks, but I feel that anytime we try to rush anything in Rangeley, people start asking, get spun up. So I would rather take a little bit more time and get this there. We're working through the chapters. You guys have done a great job, but we still have some data input to come in and a couple of chapters. We unfortunately didn't have a quorum for our meeting last week, which set us back a little bit. We have another meeting on the 25th. But I think it's better measure twice, cut once and get that. So rather than trying to force it to make that, so that's going to throw us off from the June vote. So whether that's November, or if we choose to do a couple hearings this summer and then do it in November, or if we try to go sooner, some other special. We could, I mean, that's cost prohibitive to the town, but maybe it warrants that. No pun intended, to have just a meeting to vote on the comp plan. So, and at your discretion, maybe do it in open or or back. So anyways, but I think we need more time, and I just, rather than go into that not fully locked in, especially you folks too, and there, if you want us to try to push forward, we can, but you've been getting a pretty good feel of what's coming in, and pieces are there, but it's not all gelled to a point. I think it's polished enough for public.
The amount of time you guys get into it, I just, like you said, take your time and make sure it's all done right.
We appreciate that.
Thank you guys.
By no means is this gonna slow us down, but we just
Yeah.
wanna try to.
So, Mr. Chair, I would recommend voting to table that item until committee suggests a date.
All right.
So moved.
Table that, so moved by Ethan, seconded by Jake, all in favor? So moved. All right, so we can still schedule our final warrant public hearing.
May 5th is quite a ways back.
Yep.
I guess June 10th is town meeting. It's on our next meeting.
Guess you wanna set it for 5th, just in case, and then the safe and sorry, and
It's up to
Give you
you.
some time.
The 19th,
Up to you
either
guys.
one, 19th works. Your choice.
preference either way.
I had one question on that.
Sure.
We talked about the two meetings. The first meeting is kind of the input meeting. This meeting on the 5th, is it really just reading over the warrant? There's no real public input, right?
Nothing can be changed at that point.
Nothing can be changed because of your absentee ballots and all that there. So you need to do it for the 5th, right? Because you have to have time to bring everything locked, or you already ordered them.
Mr. Chair, yeah, things will already be
Yeah.
printed by
We
then.
get the schedule somewhere.
And I don't wanna, things can't be changed after that hearing, but it's still a very viable opportunity for folks to ask questions and become better acquainted with the warrant.
With saying that perhaps the 19th is better is because it's closer to the election. It keeps whatever people are hearing in the hearing fresher in their mind.
It's totally up to the board. And some folks will be voting absentee, but some folks will be voting here in this room too, so.
Oh,
And absentees are available, 30 days before, so
Yeah,
if you
well,
want to do it before the first absentee vote, you'd have to
have to
stick
be,
with the 5th.
have to be the 5th, yeah. Okay, doesn't matter to me. I was trying to,
Either way, what's your pleasure?
well, that absentees in tow, probably the 5th is better. What do you think, Jake?
You got it.
Do 5 PM?
Sure.
Motion?
Motion to schedule final warrant public hearing for May 5th, 5 PM.
By Ethan, second by Jake, all in favor? So move. On old business, you got a houseboat update for us, John?
I received some information from Freddie last week, and it's been, read into it today. I wanted to make sure it wasn't something I already knew before. I'll get you that information at your next meeting. It does look, it's a governor's bill. It does look like, there's some language in there to define houseboats and also to define what a houseboat is. I'll keep you up to speed on that at your next meeting. There was an offer from Kristen to lobby on our behalf. I asked her what the fee was, and she said it would be $3,000 to $5,000. I'm not proposing that. I just told her I'd run it by you if you wanted that to happen. I'm certainly willing to keep an eye on it. Communicate as needed.
Yeah, did we send a letter?
I haven't yet. I've just recently found out where that bill is at, and I'm willing to send that letter. Let's have a better idea of.
Joe, can you
What your
forward out
folks-
the LD or post it?
It's not an LD because it's a governor's bill. I think it's IFW 9
Okay.
is what it's called.
You know when the public hearing is for that?
I don't know that yet, yeah. Just getting acquainted with it myself.
Be good to know, because some of us might want to go down
Yeah.
and chime in. That's always the most effective, I think, is speaking in front of the committee.
Chris, if you learn.
Oh. You can send me the actual bill, then I'll put it on my bill alert tracker.
comp plan update, I guess we pretty much.
Yeah, we're making great progress. Donna's here to chime in on anything you want.
You have a few chapters, Mr. Chair, that you were provided in your packets. Knowing that you're, gonna push it out a little bit, it's up to you how in depth you wanna get tonight. I would, even though we're adjusting the schedules, I'd like to kind of keep the momentum
Absolutely.
going if we can.
I would just push it to our next meeting, just so if Keith and Sam have anything, they can chime in as well.
Yeah, we're meeting on the 25th, so we'll have some more.
Okay.
So we're not gonna stop our flow to you if that's okay.
No.
If
keep
it stacks
going.
up on your side, it stacks up.
Yep.
But we're just gonna keep going, just because otherwise 3 months turns into 6, turns into 12, and
That's
it's
a big one.
2028.
So you'd like to wait until the next meeting for an update?
That way well, I mean, if Dawn is here, if she wants to give us, if you have anything you'd like to update us with, Donna, feel free.
No, I just wanna, you have the 2 chapters. They are work in progress, and I have made a little bit of, a few changes to them just to clean them up a little bit. But certainly if you have any substantive comments, let me know. If you think it would be helpful to have a joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the committee, I'm happy to do that too, to try and keep the progress moving on this. So we have draft chapters of everything. Now they're just in different stages of review and revision and, but I think we're making good progress.
All right, yeah, we'll make sure we get you our input if we have any for the 2 or 3
Okay.
chapters that we have for the next meeting. And then like Chris said, you keep sending them to us and we'll keep turning them around.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, down. Nope, that's all right. All right, thank you for coming tonight, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Number 9, down emergency services study. You have anything you wanted to?
Mr. Chair, this was a placeholder, I think, for a follow-up discussion after the budget meeting where Steve Smith was present from North Star. I don't know if there was any follow-up from the board. Part 1, part 2, in these sections that I think it's in the section that Donna just referenced there, public facilities and services. There's a recommendation in there to, in the next 10 years, study emergency services and all contracted services from time to time to make sure, the value is there for people. So, want to see if there's any feedback on either one of those items.
Actually talked to Wendy like a week or 2 ago. I was talking to her and she had said when she first got on the board, she had talked to Mike, and I guess he's got a bunch of facts and figures about running an ambulance service. Not that I am saying I'm in favor of that. I was on the board years ago when we got rid of the town service, so I understand both sides of that. But if he does have some information that we could just look at, just so we're doing our due diligence, that would be.
Sure.
That would be good, I think, if you guys.
Information's information.
That's it.
I'll check with the chief on that. Get back to you.
All right. Did you have your hand up, Cindy?
No.
Oh, seeing things tonight.
You
I could have sworn you had your hand up. All right. No correspondence, nothing to be read into record. We've got some department updates and then we've got a slew of calendar. Anybody have anything they want to say on department updates? Through there. Looks good. All right, you just want to go down through the calendar, Joe, and
Sure.
talk about all these dates?
This is assuming, a lot of these are assuming secret ballot town meeting. March 2nd is nomination papers for the town meeting. March 3rd is no longer valid because we're not going to post public hearing until April 2nd. March 11th is a joint meeting between the board and the budget committee. The budget committee will make recommendations. The board is interested in receiving recommendations that night. And probably will defer on voting until their next committee. They wanted to spend time listening to those recommendations. April first is the last date for public input, so we already scheduled that. April second, comp plan, public hearing, we can strike that also. April eighth is a special town meeting for the question about overdrafts in the police department in this year. April 11th, nomination papers are due. April 11th, warrant is due to the clerk. April 11th, voter petition deadline. April 11th, proposed petition ordinance is due to the clerk. And call for election is the same day. The last date for final public hearing is May 31st. You've already set that. June 3rd is the last date to post the warrant for the annual town meeting, and then June 10th is the town meeting. That's a Tuesday.
All right, thanks. Monthly financials and grant sheets.
I would like to point out the plan. You look at police. We want to make sure we're keeping an eye on this. We got 31% more to spend the year. Want to make sure we're periodically keeping an eye on that. That right-hand column on your summary, that's a good way to gauge where each division is at. Everything else looks pretty normal. We did correct, as I noted in the budget meeting, there was an overlay typographical error there a few weeks ago. That's been corrected.
Anything on the grant sheet you want to hit on?
There is I may have mentioned this at the last meeting that we have the grant sheet, but the very bottom one is a printer for the police department. That requires really just the cost of installation, the time to install it. It hasn't been to you yet because there's no significant match. So when we know that we've received it, it'll come to you for acceptance. I'll make sure you're aware of that grant.
Okay, thank you. Then we got the Maine Municipal Bond Bank, Public Safety Building Maturity, out back.
There's a couple of news for the town, the public safety building bond. There's the release there that's included in your pack. You may recognize some of the names in the signature page. Yeah. That's good news. That's just an update, no action required there.
All right, Maine Service Center Coalition.
This is update two, Mr. Chair. There's a couple of examples of what Mitchell Tardy Jackson, who's the lobbyist put together or have hired to do. These are a couple of memos that they've sent to the legislature on these issues. One of them is FOAA. There's a bill currently proposed that would give municipalities only 30 days to respond to that. It's typically an issue. If you get a really complex one, it may take more than 30 days. This law would not allow you more than 30 days, so we're lobbying against it. Now, the other one is for getting the full 55% education money from the state for schools. There are a handful of other ones that I didn't have ready, didn't get them until today actually, so they weren't in the packet. I wanted to give an example of what the Service Centers Coalition does for the $500 or $600 a year.
All right, any communications, you guys?
Sure.
Push that executive session to the next meeting when we have a full board. So, need a motion to adjourn. So move. Motion by Ethan. Assuming that's it by Jay.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be down tomorrow.